welcome to SCW right here on youtube.com. Thank you for choosing this channel and watching this video. Please subscribe to the channel right now. Remember, you can like and comment on the videos if you have anything you'd like to say. Remember, sharing is caring as well, so let's spread the word all over the internet, see if we can get SCW out there. But going to be talking Extreme Rules, and it's the full preview and predictions for you on this video. Give my view and see what I think has happened with the feuds on the road to this pay-per-view, and also what I think is going to happen. Potentially look at one or two things that could happen as well, but not necessarily will happen. So let's get straight into it and talk about the no DQ match, the pre-show match of Baron Corbin versus Dolph Ziggler. Now, for me, really, this feud needs to finish on this match. I think it's going to go the right way. I think that it's basically for the preview, just for Extreme Rules. So it's got the stipulation. It's probably going to have maybe one or two weapons in it, just to get you a little bit excited for the event. We've had Ziggler win at the pre-show on the last pay-per-view. Corbin has won on the road to this pre-show. I expect Corbin to get the victory and go all the way forward from here on. But there's rumours that not much is really planned to happen with Baron Corbin, which is a bit disappointing. This really then could go either way, but you'd think if you're trying to build somebody up, then Corbin needs to have the victory in this one, and maybe if it's going to be extreme, maybe we might get an end of days on the outside the ring, just like we've had on the previews going towards payback. So maybe that would bring that in there for the 1, 2, 3 for this finish. Going then on to the main card, we'll look at the Intercontinental title match at the Fatal 4-Way. Sami Zayn, Cesaro and Kevin Owens are all challengers to The Miz. Now, Fatal 4-Way normally means that there's going to be a title change somewhere. These guys have been involved in all sorts of matches with each other on the build-up, which really kind of makes sense, really, even if it's screams sometimes a bit repetitive. But I liked what they did on Raw this week with the tag team, where they kind of mixed up a little bit. We had Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens on the same team. I definitely thought that was quite something different, nice little twist there, so I quite enjoyed that aspect. Looking into the match itself, I mean, it's not really Extreme Rules. I mean, this is the one thing with this pay-per-view, it's PG banner, so when you look at Extreme Rules, you expect it's going to be hardcore blood, all sorts going to happen in these sort of matches. That's not necessarily going to be the case with a PG product. If there's going to be blood, it's probably going to be by accident. So we're not going to expect perhaps a lot of that sort of thing. And the kind of Extreme Rules matches that you would expect to be extreme under the PG banner, they don't work. So to keep it clever, it's probably best that they have these sort of different style matches to what they have normal. Like we have a Tornado tag team match, which we don't get very often, so therefore it's going to be used in this pay-per-view. We have like a no DQ, which means probably a couple of chairs or something like that. It doesn't necessarily have to break down the banner. And a submission match as well. This kind of works for the PG banner, the PG product. Now, for some fans, that's going to be very disappointing, and it shouldn't be called Extreme Rules. But this isn't ECW One Night Stand, although this is where the Extreme Rules kind of birthed from back in the 2005-2006 time. But going back into the matter at hand, this Fatal 4-Way match, it should be a very good match. You've got some good workers in there with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens and Cesaro in particular. But I'm expecting the champion to retain now. The reason I say this is Money in the Bank follows this pay-per-view, and I'm expecting to see Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens in the title hunt, particularly in that ladder match anyway, and this then will move them away from the Intercontinental title program to then perhaps finish the feud with each other at a later time. I'm expecting Miz and Cesaro to go at it one more time at Money in the Bank, so I'm going to predict that one of them two is going to win it, but I think Cesaro is probably going to get screwed out of this, and I think the Miz will then keep his belt for another month. That's my prediction on that one. Moving on next, then we have the tag team titles. We have the New Day versus the Vaudevillains. Now, I think they've built this up quite well for what it could have been. I kind of had my fears that this was going to be just the New Day completely squashing the Vaudevillains on the road to Extreme Rules, but it's not been the case. Aiden English, particularly with the Vaudevillains, has held his own on the mic when it comes to talking, and the New Day actually surprisingly been slightly entertaining on my expect, but that's my opinion anyway. But looking at this match, it's hard to see where it's going to go, but if you look at the tag team title reigns, the WWE longest tag team champions in history, currently held by Paul London and Brian Kendrick, the New Day are on their tails, and they're not too far away from taking it over. Now, apparently Paul London is bashing WWE a lot at any given rate, saying it's not a good place to work recently. That would make me change my opinion. Originally, I said the Vaudevillains would win this to get the new team momentum. I think maybe now that they could be just fed to the New Day, because I think the New Day are probably going to break this record. They've had the belts for a long time now, so I'm going to go for a New Day victory and hold their belt for just a little while longer. Looking next, we'll go for the submission match. It'll be Charlotte versus Natalya. Ric Flair banned from ringside. I think this match should be a good match. I'm not particularly sure if Natalia should be in the title hunt, personally. That's just my opinion. I think it should be Sasha Banks or someone like a Paige or Becky Lynch. You know, I'm more of a fan of these particular women wrestlers. But Natty's a good worker, and the submission match kind of fits them both, as they both have submission moves as their finisher anyway. This means we won't get a cheap finish, and we will get an actual declared victor. So this should be good. It proves that then, for my prediction, that Charlotte would win. It means that she can do it on her own. Ric Flair cannot come out to ring at all, which I think is good. This could lead to a future storyline potentially with her and Rick, potentially even Charlotte saying, I don't need you anymore. You know, that could start blossoming over the next few weeks on WWE program, because it is kind of ruining a lot of matches having Ric Flair at ringside interfering all the time. And Charlotte can be a heel on her own. She doesn't need the dirtiest player in the game. She can now be the dirtiest female in the game and actually win via cheating on her own merit. We might even find that she might cheat in some form or fashion just to get herself the victory this evening. When I say cheat, of course, it's extreme rules, but it doesn't mean that you can't use perhaps an underhanded tactic that you wouldn't use in a normal match to get the victory and get the submission. But that's my call. Will Charles Robinson be the referee as well? Something maybe to keep an eye on for that match. But looking on further then into the card, well, let's look at the United States Championship match. Let's look at Kalisto versus Rusev. Now, do we care? That's the first question we have to ask ourselves. Do we really care? To be honest, no, not really. But I think that the winner of this match potentially could be fed to John Cena on his return. He's due back on May the 30th, and rumour has it he could be back in the US title hunt to do the Open Challenge once again. So the question is, will he face Rusev once again in a perhaps a less high-profile feud that they had before, which led to WrestleMania last year, or will it be the guy that he kind of embraced to get the US title, Kalisto? Now, I did think it was going to be Rusev along the way, and it would, for me, make sense to have Ruru actually win the belt. But something in my head's telling me today that Kalisto could win this match. He was supposed to be injured, which actually he was just doing a tour of Mexico, which is not why he wasn't on SmackDown this week. Perhaps they might play that into the match as well, make an okay contest out of it. But I'm not convinced it matters really who wins, really. So this prediction could be right, it could be wrong. I don't think it matters. I think the winner is losing to Cena in the next few weeks. So I'm going to just say Kalisto, because we've had the Rusev feud done before, and then as well Rusev can go on to different things. But I think it would be better for the Rusev character if he could get some momentum and actually win. And he's got Lana back his side. He's no longer in the League of Nations. It would be nice to see him pick up the belt, but that's just my opinion. But looking next, then we'll go for the Asylum match. This is Dean Ambrose versus Chris Jericho, and basically, Lethal Lockdown, if you're a TNA fan, is kind of a carbon copy, but, well, let's be honest here, they've made their own twist on it a little bit, because it's not a multi-man match, and the weapons can be used straight away, and, yeah, okay, I mean, for an Asylum match to work, I mean, this is going to have to be a barbaric match, for people to really kind of feel it and get into it, otherwise everyone's going to be very disappointed. It's kind of like similar to Ambrose versus Brock at WrestleMania. We didn't get what we were promised, and therefore we were very disappointed. The good thing is Jericho gets a lot of leeway, so potentially Jericho might be kind of up for a few of these things being used on him around the ring, but expect probably the straight jacket, probably expect Mitch 2.0, because there's a plant pot hanging above the ring, probably a kendo stick and something like that. But I mean, we see the barbed wire baseball, but I don't see it being used. I'm just going to be honest and throw that out there now, so don't be too hurt if it's not used. But this is designed for an Ambrose victory, and I think Ambrose is going to walk away with a victory here over Chris Jericho. Whether Jericho took a high in this after this, I'm not quite sure either, but Jericho has been killing it on the mic. He's been awesome, superb heel work on the road to this pay-per-view, and has really kind of held this feud together, particularly as it's really over a plant pot, a talk show, and a jacket. So, I mean, it's not really over much, really, is it? But let's be honest, they've made the best of what they've been given. Moving on then to, I'm going to basically do the last two matches together, looking at what we're on now. Right, okay, we've got a few minutes to talk about this, which is good. We're going to look at the Tornado Tag Team match of Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson versus the Usos. Also the World Heavyweight Championship match of Roman Reigns versus AJ Styles. Now I'm going to kind of combine this together because they've been on the road together the whole way through. We've kind of seen this done so repetitively all the way through. I think the rumour had it that this feud was going to continue through to Money in the Bank, but I've heard rumours in the last couple of days it's going to close this evening, which means potentially we're going to see Roman Reigns just walk away with the belt, and this hopefully should be the end of the feud. It's been a good feud. It's probably been the most exciting feud on WWE programming. You've had AJ Styles walk around as the good guy, kind of reluctant to be the bad guy, using the chairs and stuff like that, but with the heels in the club by his side, you know, it kind of makes a a face and heel kind of duo kind of work, and will AJ Styles kind of really turn full on heel. But Roman Reigns is doing what he needs to do, which is use chairs and put AJ Styles through tables. I mean, and he's portrayed as the face, so it's a very interesting term. And of course, the Usos, well, they're there, so you know that's kind of how it is really with them. They're very boring Usos. I can't get into them. But anyway, looking then at the match itself, it's been kind of played to a death really already. The tag team matches we've had with those two teams, also then throwing the six-man matches, and with Reigns and Styles in the corners. This is the only way road left to go now for the two tag teams with Usos and Anderson and Gallows, shall I say. Ganderson, we'll go with Ganderson. I'm going to expect them to pick up the victory here on this Tornado Tag Team match. It's the only thing they sort of haven't done. All guys are going to be in the ring at the same time, so there's no tags in this match. I feel the club have been kind of booked really badly since they've been put in WWE. They should have been seen as the dominant team, and they've been losing. Of course, yes, they've been in the main event, and I argued that at the very start. They were in the main event with Roman Reigns, so what could you expect? There's not such a big a rub you can get other than that. But then at the same time, I mean, they're looking weak by losing quite a few times already on programming, which is not good for WWE going forward. Of course, yes, they'd probably squash other tag teams if they went into the tag team tournament, but that's still nonetheless, we need to actually get this feeling that they're strong, not just from outside of WWE, what they did in New Japan. We need to feel that in the product that we're seeing now for it to seem legit. But I expect a wrong to be righted tonight. I expect Gallows, Ganderson to pick up the win this evening. As for Roman Reigns and AJ Styles, there's been rumours of Seth Rollins being involved this evening, and he has actually put Extreme Rules on his Facebook page, but the rumour is he's back on Raw on the 6th of June, so I'm expecting that at the moment just to be a little hint. We've had rumours of Finn Balor as well being involved this evening. I've heard rumours that AJ Styles would complete the match and Finn Balor would go in instead. Now that would only make sense to me if Finn Balor was to win the match, because otherwise why would you do it? And also, where is there for him to go if he were to do that? I don't quite see that. Although it would be fun to see an NXT champion versus the WWE champion at TakeOver in June, on June 8th against Samoa Joe, but I don't see that happening. Will Balor be there though? That could happen. Let's see. I'm expecting tonight to be a double cross. I'm expecting AJ Styles to be turned on by the club, and if Balor is introduced as well, that is the perfect way to do it, because you close this feud off. We can have AJ Styles and Finn Balor moving forward, and it can be the Balor club rather than the club, and then we can have things going just as they should be. We can have a new number one contender and a fresh main event for Roman Reigns as the champion going in towards Money in the Bank. So that's my predictions there for you for Extreme Rules. What are your feelings? I mean, do you like these predictions? Do you feel it'd be different? Is it predictable? Is it not? Let us know your feelings in the comments section. Do subscribe to this channel right now. You've been watching SCW right here on youtube.com. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the pay-per-view tonight. I will be giving you a review. Also, there'll be a podcast review for you. So I'll probably combine the two. I'll probably, what I'll do is on this channel, I'll probably just let you know that the review is up via the podcast. So look out for that on Monday evening. That should be where you'll expect to see that. Just in time, so you have time to listen to it before Raw as well. So thank you very much for watching on this channel. You've been watching SCW. Subscribe now.